The Bauma show takes place every 3 years in Munich in Germany, and it's the world's largest construction trade fair. There's new machines, new models and even airships. We will start our quick tour of the exhibition on the Sennebogen stand. And there were 2 new models, both made by Ross of Italy. Firstly, there's the new big 875 material handler, and there's also the 6113 telescopic crawler crane. This model is interesting because it also includes a clip-on access platform, and like many things at Bauma, it was even more interesting to see the real machine on display. Here's a nice friendly little machine, and it just goes about its business without a care in the world. Zoomlion had a stand, and who knows, they may soon be taking over Terex. They had a couple of nice models on display, including this QAY 220 mobile crane. And also in the green colour scheme was this large concrete pump. There was some unusual looking road rail equipment at the exhibition. The Mammoet store had a stand, and it was displaying its big SPMT converter exchange model. This represents a real project carried out by Mammoet, and it certainly is an interesting and unusual display model. It's by IMC models and should be available around the mid-year. Also on display was the Terex 3800 crawler crane, and that was in Mammoet colours, so there was enough to keep Mammoet fans happy. You know, some jobs are hard, but some jobs just look like they're fun. The prize for the biggest iron at Bauer went to Komatsu with its giant PC7000 mining excavator, and it towered over the crowds and just about everything else. In fact, it even had a little baby that was sitting next to Big Mama. Now the PC7000 is big, but the PC8000 is bigger, and the model of it by Bauma was on display, although it's still not quite ready for sale yet. There's still a few small changes to make to the model, and hopefully it will be available in a few months' time. Not everything at Bauma was new, and here's Volvo's first ever ADT. But one place where there certainly was some new stuff was over at Manitowoc. There was certainly plenty of big stuff in terms of real machines, but interestingly Manitowoc are back with a scale model program. A number of years ago Manitowoc had a big program of very high quality scale models, but after a considerable gap there were 5 new ones on display at Bauma. Conrad has produced this Grove 6300L mobile crane, and in addition to the MDT 389 tower crane, Conrad has also produced this model of the new HUP self-erecting tower crane, and this is the first model of this type that's been seen for a few years. But if you want to go really large, there were 2 big Manitowoc crawler cranes on display, and these are being produced in conjunction with Weiss Brothers. These are the plastic samples, and the models are currently targeted for early 2017, and it looks like Manitowoc are back at having high quality models produced of their real machines. Bauma's not just about machines though, there were massive displays of formwork and forcework equipment. And if you're into heavy foundations, there was a huge display of Bauer equipment. This particular machine is the MC96 with a BC35 and an HDS-T, and Bauma have produced a version of it which was on display in the Bauer shop. This is another impressive looking and complex model of a piece of foundation equipment. The Italian company Soilmec also had an impressive display of equipment, and again they specialise in foundation engineering. This particular crane is an SC120, but Soilmec has also upgraded their SC100 scale model and kitted it out complete with a large hydro mill. One of the interesting announcements was that Terex has reintroduced its old Demag crane brand, and for sure the Demag colour scheme is much more interesting than the old Terex white. Surprisingly, Terex did not have a merchandising store at Bauma, But they did have what appeared to be a hand-painted version of Conrad's 3800 crawler crane in Demag colours, and it's an attractive looking model. One of the new machines at Bauma was this JCB Hydra Dig, and it was carefully shovelling bits of sand backwards and forwards as you do. I don't think sand and gravel has ever been treated so carefully. Caterpillar had a hall full of their equipment, and they were selling plenty of merchandise too. It was interesting to see that Caterpillar had some specialist machines on display, including this road rail excavator. As far as scale models go, there was one prototype on display from Diecast Masters, and it was this Caterpillar M318F. One thing that looks nice is that in addition to a bucket, it also includes a grab. Tadano was displaying its big new 600-ton mobile crane. It was fully equipped with a fly jib, and so it looked impressively large. Less impressive was that Tadano did not seem to have a merchandise store, but the new crane is interesting with its unusual and innovative boom strengthening system. It will be interesting to see if this machine ever makes it into a scale model size. Mechalek had machines at work, and once again the objective seems to be to treat sand as gently as possible. So the Bauma exhibition also seems to have coincided with the International Be Kind to Sand Week. Putzmeister had a number of concrete pumps on display, including this big M47, and there was also a Putzmeister Pummi 25-4. This is a concrete pump mounted on a truck mixer chassis, and it was nice to see there was a new Conrad model of it on display. Also on display was a new Conrad truck mixer model. The second biggest stand at the whole exhibition was for the Vogt Group, and they seemed to have examples of every machine on display. Not only that, they went for the Max and had this huge Benninghoven asphalt plant fully constructed. The Vogt Group has always had a strong scale model program, and new from NZG is this Super 2000 paver, and NZG have also provided 4 versions of the H7i compactor. At the smallest end of the scale is a new HD14 roller by NZG. In terms of Vogt, NZG has produced a new version of the W100 planer, and Conrad has also provided some new models, including this Kleemann Mobicone MC09, and also the Vergler Super 700 and 800 pavers. On the Saney stand there was some weird and wonderful dancing going on, and it's just what every construction site needs. One of the more unusual machines on display was this Kaiser S12 excavator, and it's a go-anywhere kind of machine. There was a scale model of it on display in prototype form. It's by Conrad and should appear later in the year. Next time you drop your car keys on a demolition site, this is just the kind of machine you need to try and find them. The biggest stand at Bauma was that for Liebherr, and amongst the machines on show was the new 9200 mining excavator. There was a huge mining truck and the brand new PR776 crawler tractor. In terms of crawler cranes, the new LR1500 dominated. From the big to the small, the models included NZG's new A922 rail excavator and an updated A918 wheeled excavator. The new PR776 was also on display in model form, and it's made by WSI. NZG has produced this HS8100 crawler crane with diaphragm wall attachment. In terms of brand new cranes, there was this LTM 1450, and it's an 8-axle machine with a particularly long boom, and it's also got an interesting moving counterweight arrangement. The German company Nagle won the prize for the smallest configured real tower crane. However, on their stand they also had a couple of large-scale tower crane models, and they were suitably large and impressive. One was this luffing jib Liebherr crane, And if you don't like luffing jibs, well, they had this alternative for you. Again, it's another huge model of a Liebherr tower crane. The TII Group are into heavy transport, and this is a blade from a wind turbine. It's mounted on a special adapter and it's fixed to an intercombi unit, and it's all very impressive. But if you want one at home, you can have this version, which is by IMC Models, and it looks like the real thing. Also from IMC was this special edition Nicholas Tractor Mass, and a couple more of the new models included a K25 modules with a generator, and Schroeder SBMT split and scissors. So that was a quick tour around Bauma 2016, and it all goes again in 2019.